Hi folks, how you doing? The last round of this beautiful tournament in Norway still had for us some interesting battles, very hard fought chess. And this game particularly was a cool one, the one between Vladimir Kramnik with white pieces and Grischuk as black. Okay, so the opening was a Grunfeld defense, a favorite of Grischuk as black. And we have a very classical exchange variation in the Grunfeld with one of the most popular lines, in fact the one which is probably the favorite of Kramnik, this queen d2 move, this setup in which an early queen exchange is very possible. Black castled, rook c1, and here bishop g4. We already saw this in this tournament with Grischuk as black. In that game Karjakin was playing white pieces and he played this knight g5 move, and the game was quite an interesting one, very imbalanced. But here Kramnik plays d5 instead. Now he's got c3 defended. Knight d7, a rare move according to Grischuk himself, who was, by the way, very entertaining in the press conference after the game. I highly recommend you to look for that press conference. He explained the game very well. So he told he had basically prepared the line we're just gonna see. After c4, he went for queen a3, and the idea is to exchange on f3, bishop takes, and have even more exchanges with this to reach an endgame, which basically seems very dangerous for black. Knight e5, queen takes here, knight takes, g takes, and queen takes. This is what Grischuk more or less had prepared. He said his computer was easily holding it, so it looks dangerous for black because white has these advanced pawns in the center which could start rolling and provoke some panic here. But Grischuk thought he could hold this. Let's see what happened. Rook c3, very natural. Queen e2, and now Kramnik goes not for 3 but for 4 pawns attack with f4. And well, the main line Grischuk had prepared was c5. He was taking on a2, e5, rook to d8, and if white plays d6, queen e6, and black is okay, as Grischuk told us in the press conference. Instead, Kramnik makes it more interesting, and after queen e2, he just plays f4, adding another pawn to this pawn storm. 4 pawns attack now. Black still takes on a2, and it is white to prove his compensation for the pawn. f5 is played here. b6 seems natural, controlling c5, stopping white from moving c5 easily. e5, and now queen b2 pinning the rook is what Grischuk played. He said he thought about moving rook ac8, but after d6, e takes, queen b2, he didn't like this position because white has d7, rook must go behind the pawn, in front of the pawn, rook d8, and the strange rook f to f3 is the move that he didn't like it. So he thought this was worse for black. That's why he just pinned the queen immediately, and he told just having the queen in his hand, he just started to panic, thinking white had some discard attack, but fortunately for him there is no discard attack in this position. So king h1, an interesting move by Kramnik, maybe with the idea of going very aggressive with rook g1. And okay, queen e2 is the move Grischuk chose, attacking the rook. He commented about the possibility of rook ac8, but now he thinks this is extremely dangerous for black. Queen e3, and if white is able to play f6, fix a pawn on f6, this is very hard for black. And if g takes, now this is kind of checkmating. Queen g5 check, king h8, queen takes here, and black is basically lost. This is very bad for black. So he played after king h1, queen e2, attacks the rook, rook f2, queen check, king g2, rook ac8, Kramnik repeats move here with rook f1. Well, d6 was another move to consider here. Of course, white has all these advanced pawns. He must try to make a passed one and create difficulties for black. Now e takes, rook ce8, and Grischuk thought he was making a draw with this move. If d7, rook e2, and at first he thought rook c2 could be dangerous, but then he takes with the queen here, and all the simplifications are leading to a drawish position. And if after rook e2, rook c2 f3, then he just doesn't take and plays rook d8, and quoting Grischuk once again, with such an open king, white just can't win. So well, the Kramnik, as we saw, didn't go d6 immediately. Repeats move with rook f1, queen e2 check, rook f2, queen back to e1. Now he plays rook g3. This is going very interesting. I mean, one can feel all the potential threats that white has against black king. Queen b4 is what Grischuk chose to at least try to get counterplay, and well, as Grischuk himself said, Kramnik decides to give up all his pawns but try to checkmate him, which is basically what white trying to do. He's giving up c4 here and playing d6. e6 was a possibility, and if rook takes c4, Grischuk said he blundered kind of a very likely the same as against Topalov, but here he thought he could survive. I mean, pawn takes, rook takes, f takes g6 seems really scary for black. Rook takes, queen takes, and rook f4, g takes check, king h8. He said he blundered the same way as against Topalov, but he thought here he would survive, maybe even win. So you can see very complicated stuff going on. Well, e6 wasn't the move Kramnik played. Instead, he pushed the other move, d6. Now, if e takes, e6, quite dangerous for black. If queen takes, queens are exchanged, e7, rook e8, f6. But still complicated, but this should be winning for white, because there is a very strong protected passed pawn here, and black is not in time to do anything. If, for instance, d5, rook d3 attacks the pawn, rook d8 anyway in any moment is in the air whenever this pawn is gone, and this should be winning for white. So, well, after d6, Grischuk just takes on c4 with the rook. Queen d3, rook g4 seems to be a mistake, the wrong rooks to exchange, as Aronian told in the press conference while they had finished. He had finished his game with Topalov and was in the press conference. And here f takes g6 was a winning move for white. H takes, and now d7. What is black going to do? I mean, the engine suggests queen g7, but then white just promotes, and well, this still may be a little complicated. Some technical tasks to do for white, but material advantage must be enough for a victory. Instead, after d7, well, if queen d4, then queen takes, rook takes, e6, white should be winning as well. So, well, this was the opportunity here for white to take on g6 and most probably have a winning position. Kramnik didn't see that and plays d7. Now rook d4, and here queen f3 is a mistake by Kramnik. In fact, this is leaving black with a winning position right now. And as Grischuk told in the press conference after e6, this is absolutely game over. And he recognized he was very lucky here. I mean, he's up 2 pawns, and now White's potential pawn storm is stopped with this e6, and there is really very little White can do. Still, with f6, White still have some remote attacking possibilities, some mating ideas here, of course, but Black is holding this without any problem, just defending from the checkmate attack, and his pawns are going to do the rest. Black takes the third pawn, and well, objectively speaking, this is over. Queen, of course, tries to go there and checkmate, but rook f to d8, leaving the f8 square for the queen to go back and protect. Queen h6, of course, queen f8, queen g5. Anytime, I mean, rooks or queens are exchanged, this is game over. Two passed pawns, connected passed pawns. White, the Black just doesn't have even to think about it. h6, queen e3, king h7, rook h3, but h5, the queen is going to come to h6, and this is game over. And rook g3 and queen h6. Kramnik tries to avoid the queen exchange, but after rook d3, this is just too much. Vladimir Kramnik resigned. Black is up to 3 pawns, and well, a very bad way of finishing the tournament for Vladimir Kramnik, who couldn't recover after his loss against Topalov. On the other hand, Grischuk, well, even though he got lucky here, he wins another game and finished, I think, third in the tournament. Not a bad tournament for him. So there it goes, the last round. Exciting chess in the Norway no logo chess tournament. Thanks for watching.